Hey there, and welcome to a brand new deep dive.
Oh,
Today we're heading into the kitchen, but maybe not for recipes this time.
no, today it's all about words, essential English words for talking about cooking.
Exactly. Think of it as a really useful guide to kitchen language. And it's actually great for just boosting your everyday English, too.
That's right. We've got quite a list here, about 38 key kitchen verbs. Our mission today is to really get to grips with them.
Yeah, we'll break down what they mean, how we use them. Should be pretty easy, maybe even fun.
Definitely.
So you ready?
Let's do it. Okay, let's start with some really basic actions. Things you do all the time. We're calling this first bit basic actions.
The everyday stuff.
Okay, first one. Break. When we break something in the kitchen, what does that actually mean?
It just means to separate something into pieces.
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, okay. Can you give us an example in a sentence?
Sure. Like, carefully break the egg into the bowl, you know.
Got it. Carefully. Next, cut. Seems obvious, but let's define it.
Yeah, cut just means using a knife to divide something.
Okay, an example.
Maybe cut the apple in half.
Right. Now with cutting, there are actually a few more specific words, like slice, chalk, and dice. They all describe different shapes, yeah.
Exactly. Let's start with slice.
Okay, slice.
So slice means cutting into thin, flat pieces. Think about, like, bread.
Right. So I might say,
Slice the loaf of bread for sandwiches.
perfect sense. Okay, what about chop? How's that different?
Chop is, well, it's cutting into smaller pieces, but they're often kind of rough, uneven. Not as neat as slicing.
Okay, so maybe for a salad.
Go like chop the lettuce into bite-sized bits. Good one.
Great. And the last one here is dice. Sounds a bit more precise.
It is. Spot on. To dice means cutting into small, neat, even cubes.
Ah, okay. An example for dice.
You could say, dice the onion finely before adding it to the sauce.
Thin pieces, rough pieces, neat cubes. Got it. Okay, one last basic action for this section. Carve. This sounds like it's for something specific.
It usually is, yeah. Carve is often used for cutting cooked meat. You know, like a big turkey or a roast joint. It kind of suggests doing it carefully, skillfully.
Like for a big Sunday dinner or a holiday meal?
Exactly. You might hear, he carefully carved the roast chicken for dinner.
Fantastic. Okay, basics covered. Now let's move on to actually cooking the food. Our next category, cooking methods.
Right, so this is all about how we use heat.
First, a super common one, boil. What's boil?
To boil is to cook something in water that's really hot, you know, bubbling fast.
Okay, simple example.
Boil the eggs for breakfast.
Right, okay. Another really popular way is to fry. What's frying?
Fry means cooking in hot oil or fat, usually in a pan.
Sounds good, like
Fry the bacon until it's crispy.
definitely. Now, two oven methods. Bake and roast. I think people sometimes mix these up. What's the difference?
That's a really good question. Bake tends to be used for things like cakes, bread, cookies, stuff usually made from a batter or dough.
So I'd bake a birthday cake.
Exactly. Bake the cookies until they are golden brown. Perfect. Now, roast. That's usually for bigger pieces of food cooked in the oven, especially meat, but also vegetables.
Ah, okay. So I might roast a chicken.
You got it. And you can roast the potatoes right alongside it.
Okay, that makes sense. Clears it up. Next is steam. Sounds healthy.
It often is. To steam means cooking food with a hot steam from boiling water. It keeps things moist, holds onto nutrients.
How would I use that in a sentence?
You might say steam the vegetables until they are tender crisp.
Nice. Then there's simmer. This sounds gentler than boiling.
It is, yeah. To simmer is to cook something in liquid that's just below boiling, so you see just a few gentle bubbles rising.
Okay, when would you simmer?
You might simmer the sauce gently for an hour, you know, to let all the flavors really meld together.
Perfect for a good sauce. Okay, two more here that sound like they make soft food. Scramble and mash. What's scramble?
Scramble usually means cooking eggs while stirring them around so they form soft, kind of uneven lumps.
Right, like for breakfast.
Exactly. Scramble the eggs with a little milk, and then mash.
Mash means crushing something soft, usually after it's cooked, until it's smooth.
Perfect.
Yeah.
For example, mash the cooked sweet potatoes with a fork.
Great job. Lots of cooking methods there. Okay, now let's talk about getting ingredients ready before the heat. This next category is mixing and preparing.
Right, getting everything prepped and combined.
We'll start with three common ones. Mix, stir, and blend. Are they basically the same?
Well, not exactly. Mix is kind of the general term for just combining things.
Like cake ingredients.
Yeah. Mix the dry ingredients together in a bowl. Now stir. That's more specific. It's moving things around, usually with a spoon, often in a circle.
So if I'm making soup on the stove.
You should stir the soup occasionally.
Yeah.
Stops it sticking, right?
Mm-hmm. And blend.
To blend means mixing things together very thoroughly, often with a machine like a blender, until they become really smooth.
Oh, right. Like
blend the fruits in yogurt to make a smoothie.
Got it. So blend equals smooth. Okay, next is whisk. Sounds faster than stirring.
It definitely is. To whisk means beating something quickly with a whisk tool. You're often trying to add air or just get things combined really smoothly.
Okay, when would I whisk?
You might whisk the eggs and sugar together until they are light and fluffy, for baking.
Sounds like a good start to a cake. Now for the bread makers out there. Knead.
Ah, yes, knead. That's a special thing you do with dough. Pressing it, folding it, stretching it. It makes the dough smooth and elastic.
Really important for bread texture.
Oh, absolutely. The instructions often say, knead the dough for about 10 minutes.
Right. Moving on. Peel. Seems simple.
It is. To peel just means taking the outside skin off fruit or vegetables.
Example.
Peel the carrots before you chop them. Easy.
Okay. And last two in this section, grate and mince. Both about making things small. What's grate?
To grate is when you rub food against a grater tool, those things with the sharp holes, to break it into small shreds or pieces.
Like cheese for pasta.
Exactly. Grate some cheese over your pizza. Perfect. And mince.
Mince means chopping food into really, really tiny pieces. Even smaller than dicing, usually.
That's right. Often used for things like garlic or fresh herbs where you want the flavor distributed. You might say mince the garlic and add it to the sauce.
All right. We've prepped, we've cooked. Now for the fun part, adding flavor and the finishing touches. Our next category, flavors and finishing touches.
Yeah, this is where you make it taste amazing.
First is sprinkle. Sounds like just a little bit.
It usually is. To sprinkle means scattering a small amount of something like salt or herbs over the top of food.
Like?
Sprinkle some salt and pepper over your salad.
Got it. And even less than a sprinkle is a pinch.
Yes, a pinch is a tiny amount, what you can hold between your thumb and forefinger.
Yeah.
Very small.
When would you use just a pinch?
Maybe add a pinch of red pepper flakes for a little spice. Just a hint.
Okay, just a tiny bit of heat. Next, marinate.
This sounds like it takes time. It does, usually. To marinate means soaking food, often meat or fish, in a flavorful sauce or mixture before you cook it. Lets the flavor soak in.
Like if you're going to grill chicken.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Marinate the chicken in barbecue sauce for at least 30 minutes, or even overnight.
Makes sense. Okay, then a really crucial step. Taste.
Oh, absolutely vital. To taste means trying just a little bit of the food while you're cooking to check the flavor.
Why is that so important?
Well, taste the soup and add more salt if needed. It's how you adjust things and make sure it's delicious before you serve it.
Good point. Always taste. And the last one here is rub.
To rub means pressing and spreading something like spices, herbs, or oil onto the surface of food, usually using your hands.
Okay, when would you rub?
You might rub olive oil and herbs all over the chicken before roasting it. Gets the flavor right on there.
Okay, almost there. Our next to last category, liquids and cleaning up. A bit of everything here.
Yeah, essential stuff for managing liquids and dealing with the aftermath.
First, a really common one, pour.
To pour is simply moving liquid from one container to another.
Easy peasy. Example.
Pour the water into the pot.
Right. Next, melt. Thinking chocolate again, maybe.
Could be. To melt is to turn something solid into a liquid using heat.
When else might you melt something?
Melt the butter in a saucepan. Very common.
Okay.
Then we have soak, often done before cooking starts.
Yeah, often. To soak means putting something in liquid and leaving it there for a while.
Why would you soak something?
You need to soak the dried beans in water overnight before cooking them. Makes them soft enough to cook.
Got it. Another one with liquids. Squeeze.
To squeeze is to press something firmly, usually to get the juice or liquid out.
Can you give us a refreshing example?
Sure. Squeeze the juice from half a lemon.
Perfect. Adds that zingling. Okay, then strain.
To strain means pouring a mixture through something like a sieve or a colander to separate the solid bits from the liquid.
Super useful for pasta.
Right, absolutely. Strain the pasta after it's cooked. Got to get rid of that water. Yep. And the last one in this section, defrost. Important for frozen stuff.
To defrost means letting frozen food warm up until it's not frozen anymore. Thawing it out.
And it's important to do it right, isn't it?
Yes. Definitely. You should defrost the meat in the refrigerator before cooking it. It's safer and helps it cook evenly.
Okay, wow, we've covered so much. Now for the grand finale, the best part maybe. Eating actions.
The whole point, right? What we do with the delicious food.
Chew. Seems basic, but important.
Very. To chew is using your teeth to break down food in your mouth.
And why is it good to chew well?
Well, they say chew your food thoroughly to help with digestion. Makes it easier for your body.
Good advice. And our very last verb today, swallow.
To swallow is the action of making the food or drink go down your throat from your mouth.
The final step.
That's it. And remember to swallow carefully.
Well, there we have it. What a deep dive. 38 essential kitchen verbs. Wow. From breaking those eggs right at the start all the way to swallowing the last bite. We covered a lot.
We really did. Hopefully it's been a fun way for you to pick up some really useful English words. You can use these in the kitchen, obviously, but also just, in general conversation.
Absolutely. So how about a quick question for you listening? Which verb did we say means cutting an onion into small, even cubes? Was it slice, chop, or dice? What do you think?
Yeah, let us know. And hey, if you enjoyed this and want to keep practicing your English, maybe try some fun quizzes. Definitely check out the Ginger Test YouTube channel.
Lots more learning stuff over there.
For sure.
Well, thanks so much for joining us on this tasty word adventure. Keep learning, keep practicing your English.
And happy cooking.
Until the next deep dive, take care.